Hello, welcome back to BlenderSushi Live Noding. In this video, I'm going to explore a little bit of Skin Modifier, which is a feature of Blender, but we're gonna have a look how Sverchok node-based workflow can do more on top of that. Skin Modifier is one of my personal favorite feature of Blender. I found this feature when it first came out. It was like really amazing, and I still found it amazing even these days because Skin Modifier performs much faster and a lot more stable than before. Working with like 2000 points is not a problem with Skin Modifier. I tried it before and it's just much better. Basically, you can have you create points and connect the points together to make edges, and the edges can have some kind of volume. It's almost like meta balls, but much better because you can create like base sculpting, or even use the whole thing as a one um, full model. You can have a read at this documentation. This is for Blender 2.64. Now we are Blender 2.78, and Skin Modifier is just getting better and better. And if you have a loop as well, this Skin Modifier can handle that, and you can have non-symmetrical objects, and you can also do like a radius with a X and Y, which means the radius can actually be flat. Not many Blender artists know this, but you can flatten the skin. Okay, so let's have a look at the possibilities we can do with Skin Modifier inside Sverchok. Let's quit Firefox and switch to Blender. Alright, so Skin Modifier. As you know already, so in order to do Skin Modifier, I'm just gonna show it to you real quick. So let's say you have a cube in the center. A quick way I do it usually is to go to edit mode real quick and then merge the mesh at the center. This is a single point, and then right away I will kind of extruding it, and if I want to constrain it up, I can middle click, so it's constrained to the Z axis, for example, so it's like straight. We can quickly make a like a tree or branching kind of design. And of course, with things like Sverchok, this kind of thing you want to do it procedurally sometimes, but if you feel like modeling it by hand, feel free to do that as well. It's not a problem. You can do either way, and really, if you keep rotating and modeling, you can get a quite a decent looking tree. And this is all pretty amazingly. You can do this, and then you don't need. Once you're done with it, you can switch back to object mode and skin Modifier. So it's modifier, and you see how fast it is. Used to be much slower, but it's really fast. I think even if I use like grease pencil tends to make a lot of points. Let's give it a try. Convert it to Bezier curve. Now I have a curve. There's the curve. If I turn this into merge, actually convert into mesh. Now I have if I check on the edit mode, I can see I have 1069 vertices. Normally it's too heavy. I don't. Let's see if Skin Modifier can handle it. See, it's only take like less than 1 second to generate this. This is pretty amazing. It's much faster than before. It's quite amazing, and you don't even need to resample it. Although I always wish Blender has like a resample node somewhere to resample mesh. Anyway, this is like, if you already know Skin Modifier, this is pretty much familiar for you. You can always scale the points influence, and then it will generate it. This is almost like you wish you have this in any 3D package, but I think from what I know, this is Blender's exclusive, and it's nice to have that. But if you wanna work using Sverchok, it's kind of similar in a way. So with Sverchok, you have a lot of generator already, but we're probably just gonna be using line just for simplicity. So this shouldn't be hard. Actually, I recommend you to use Sverchok and skin node. Just if you are a beginner and you want to play around with Sverchok, just try to draw lines using Sverchok and modify the lines. So create a new node 3, and then I show you the skinner node first. It's called Skin Mesher. Now Skin Mesher is a better node. It's still useful. It doesn't have the output, so Skin Mesher is kind of like, use this node at the very end. If you have like a final setup, you set up everything and you just want to output it with Skin Modifier, you can use this node, and you can still have the live effects using this guy. But be careful, because this node can be unstable. Sometimes it crashes. It's a good idea to turn on live on and off time to time. So if we create a line, for example, this is Sverchok line, and by default it's generating line that goes that way in the x-axis. Currently I'm just showing the points, but I can also show the edges like that, so we have proper line. Of course, with line you can do a lot of things, but really this time we only care about the Skin Mesher. So like we already know, Skin Mesher will create like a pipe, or maybe kind of like intestines, where each point can have a certain radius value, and with the radius you can have pipe that kind of growing or kind of small or big depending on the radius that you can see here, or you can have the same radius value for all the points and you have like equal size of radius. Yeah, let's save this real quick. This is all Sverchok stuff, so you can control this point distance. Yeah, like I said, have a look at this generator and find how it works with the Skin Mesher. But for today I'm just gonna do line. If I plug in this line into the skinner right away, it doesn't do anything, but you can give it a material here. You can adjust the subdivisions. This is a extra thing that's gonna be on top of the skin modifier. Let's have a look real quick. If I turn on live modifier, so we have the line turned into this solid object. Yeah, it's kind of the skin. And if you look at the object output itself, it's already have the skinner and subsurf. This is from Sverchok. And if you worry about it might crashing, or if you want to quickly bake it, I usually just make a duplicate. Okay, duplicate of objects, because this is a modifier. It comes with with these objects. Underneath is really just a line. I can just say we can just delete subsurf and delete the skinning, or edit the skinning. Yeah, see, you can still do that, no problem. Back to object mode, you can delete this and you just get this line. That's normal line, normal Blender line mesh. So okay, what can we do with this guy? Like I said, we can control the radius from inside Sverchok. Be careful with this node, it tends to crash, so I'm gonna save really often. What you can do next, of course, you can maybe, let's say you want to use a random radius. The number of radius should match the number of vertices, otherwise it's not gonna work. Let's try doing that. Random not vector but just random because it's a single value. Maybe we don't have control over the X and Y yet in this Skin Mesher node, but that's okay for now. Let's say if we plug in, so for the count, the number of values should match the vertices, like I said. So let's do that. Get length, list length, get the number of vertices, plug it in there, plug in the count. So we have the same number of vertices for the radius. We can have a look at the radius value that we're gonna pipe in. So it's 0.8, 0.75, 0. Okay, all this value, the value shouldn't be negative, but it can be from any value from 0 to any big value. Let's have a look if we pipe this into the radius. Now you can see we have more like a solid object, and it's done using this line, and you can randomize to see it, no problem. Although yeah, this is a random value, sometimes you get value that's close to 0 and it's jumping around. If you have like a noise, maybe see, we have noise, vector noise, and then let's output like a scalar kind of noise based on the vertices. I think we can have something more, a little bit more interesting. So again, using line and skin mesher in Sverchok, which is using the skin modifier, you can have quite interesting like object design. Let's plug in vector in. Very simple. All you need to care about is you need to worry about how many points the line has, and then what's the radius for each point, and you go from there. If I am increasing the number of points, you see it will grow, and then because our random radius is connected to it, everything is procedural, and we can adjust it anytime we like. Gonna save it again. Okay, now we have, I want to have noise that's scalar cell noise. There's a vector noise here, so I'm gonna use one of these. Sometimes I got those two being mixed out, but all you need to care is, usually with the node, you give it a try, figure out what's in, what's out, and figure out the functions, and just worry about the data that's out or in goes in. So with this I can do it like this. So this one has more option. This one, scalar cell noise. I wonder if I plug this in, what's I'm gonna get. See, I'm not getting anything. This is one thing that sometimes confuse me a little bit. Scalar cell noise. If I plug this in, maybe this should be add. Oh, actually, wait. I gotta plug this in there. And Blender crash. Okay, that's expected. I'm gonna probably have two Blender open just in case it's not open anymore. That's okay. File, open, listen, Sverchok Skinner. Okay, cool, still work. Let's try it like this. Cell function, this goes in there. Oh yeah. I think the number of points doesn't match, that's why it crashes. Or I just did something I shouldn't do. gonna have two Blender open. Sorry about that hiccup. But I always save often, so it's no problem. Run Blender, I'm gonna have two Blender open. Something about that this guy that is not good. Oh, okay, apparently I have minus. So minus is bad, okay. No wonder. Okay, don't be careful with that. Minus will crash that guy. I'll just remap the value. So noise will give the value between -1 and 1. So we want the value between maybe this between this value. So if I view it now, it's good. Yeah, 17. We have 17 vertices. Now it shouldn't crash. Still crash. Yeah, maybe I need to turn off the skinner. Let's turn off this live modifier for now and then plug this. So afraid it's gonna crash again. Maybe use this vector noise instead. I turn off the live modifier, I plug this in, so it seems to be working. Turn on live and it crashes as well because I might have a small value there. It's something about noise. If you're using like things like sine, maybe it will work better and it will not crash. Let's use sine first and then use random as well in something funky about that noise. Maybe it's a bug, I don't know. So we open this, so that's danger. This is danger, this is danger, don't use it, not yet. Just use random for now. Random live modifier, all good. Let's just play with this idea, just have more vertices and less spacing. Okay, that's pretty cool enough, I guess. You know what you can do with this? You can use a grease pencil. Let's go to. Now we can do it like this. So this is the origin of this object, right? That's the origin point. If we're doing like something like grease pencil, let's try doing a single stroke, doing like that. Convert it to curve. Let's see whether I have the curve now. Convert grease pencil to Bezier curve. Okay, now I have the curve. I can delete the grease pencil or hide it. With this curve, we can actually bend this, guys. This is a known. If you use Blender for a while, you know this feature. It's a curve deformer. It works with curve, so we have grease pencil curve. See how I'm deforming the objects now? And also you can kind of swim through the curve. So that's something you can use together with this Sverchok setup and skin modifier. It's really interesting. I'm dragging it in the Y directions because currently it's deforming in the X-axis. Sorry, it's in the X-axis, not Y. And it becomes this little thing when it's outside. Wonder if I have another one, whether it's gonna still function properly. If I have another grease pencil. Let's delete that. If I draw another one like that, convert grease pencil to Bezier curve. Now we have this guy. Delete this. They're not really connected, but if I select this object, create another curve modifier using the second curve. Wonder if this is working. Maybe not quite. I have a feeling that it might actually work, but I just need to put the curve position will affect the output. There is a limitation here because this skin mesher only, if you update this in the timeline, it will regenerate the setup, and we have curve. The curve modifier goes on top while skin goes at the bottom. And maybe it's a bug, maybe it's a feature, maybe it's a limitation, but yeah, be careful on that. So yeah, so we know now we can use more curve. Let's see if we want to observe like a sine wave, kind of like our heartbeat pattern, like going expanding and then squeezing based on time or value. Let's observe that using Skin Mesher. Okay, math, sine should work fine, and with sine we can kind of offset it, so it's gonna look interesting. Let's plug in the, so we have vertices, we have edges, sine, the length of the let's get the x. Let's get the x value of the vertices, and you can see the x value here. Plug into green to green. So we have, this is the x value. There's a growing in space. Okay, that's the x value. Let's plug into the sine. Let's see the output. The sine wave will give you value between -1 and 1. So we can remap that. Alt min, Alt max. SV data error edges poly. Okay, that's a little bit of glitch. Anyhow, I believe we can use this data now. This is a sine data. I shouldn't crash. Let's reopen. That's why I said this skin modifier is a little bit like a beta node. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Just be aware of it. It works with random sine. I don't know why it keeps on crashing. Maybe it doesn't like a 0 value, maybe, or too small value. Maybe I shouldn't clamp it. Maybe. So it's between -5 and. So this should be good. This is 79. This is 79. Turn off live modifier. Plug this guy in. See, it didn't crash. See, that's weird. That's why it's interesting. With a sine, we can control. We can actually offset it, so it's gonna look quite interesting and quite pretty. Let's use time, for example, time, frame info, and use math. plus here time, and this is gonna use, let's use a multiplier time 0.1. This will go in there. It's the usual stuff, and good, it doesn't crash. And now we have this. This is actually, remember something that's originally just a line. Now we have that. You can, it's kind of like a nice wavy pattern, and you can use noise on top of that. If it doesn't crash, you can increase the speed. But the thing with sine is you can also multiply it, not multiply the time. See, this is a time multiplier, so it's a bit slower. This is the add. You can further multiply it here, so you have like a bigger or smaller wave or frequency. So that's a bit larger frequency. You have that and even more. And that's actually 3D. Yeah, it's pretty simple, but you know, if you've never seen it, this is pretty interesting kind of workflow. So you know, now you can use sine. I'm still curious on why I couldn't use the noise. Really, it shouldn't crash. It shouldn't crash. Turn off. Plug this in. If now it crashes, I will stop right away. Turn on skin. See, it didn't crash this time. You see? How weird. Noise. This is noise value. See that? You can actually see the noise. This is always something that I found interesting. You can mix and match functions, and you can see the result right away. Okay, with the noise, you can perhaps push the noise. Normally, in order to push the noise, we use the math. I have a feeling that if I do this, it's gonna crash. If I actually pipe in the value from here to there, Sverchok will crash. Yeah, I don't know. Didn't crash. I have a feeling what's causing the crashing is the remap. The clamping is causing the crashing. So other than that, and we shouldn't have a zero value. If we take care of that, it's gonna be good, and we can do interesting stuff with this guy. Time and noise value being offset. There you go. I always like to see this noise kind of swimming around. Pretty interesting. That's it's a Perlin noise. Noise blender noise. There are other noise. Voronoi, cell noise. See, the cell noise, interesting. New Perlin. And of course, you're not limited to using line. So at the moment, line goes into vertices and edges. You're not limited to that. You can always, let's pause this. You can always deform the line, or you can use other input. Let's say okay, you have lines. You can have random points. random vector and random with random vector, of course, you can plug that into the noise. And edges count, you can use UV connection because it's just gonna output lines as well. Edges, plug in the vertices, and Blender crashes. So I think that's pretty much kind of explaining to you. This node is really quite interesting, the Skin Mesher. It will crash every now and then because it's a beta software. No, it's a beta node, not beta software. Sverchok itself can be pretty stable. You just need to save a lot, and like I said, you use the Skin Mesher node at the very end. Sometimes just things just crash. It's, you know, it's not a big deal. It crashes for maybe for a reason. Maybe this thing shouldn't be connected. I shouldn't be connecting this guy. I really should connect the vertices and the data first. And in order to have slicing, U and V. Let's check the resulting line. So that's the resulting line. It's a random line. And now if I plug this guy in, turn on live, so it didn't crash. And you can increase the seed value and create this kind of warm looking objects. In reality, you want to maybe use a vector math and kind of randomize the random further. It's going to be the multiplier. This is a random vector. This is output vector. Hopefully it doesn't crash. Didn't crash, so that's what we get. Although of course random is random and you're not getting like a smooth line. If you want a smooth line, remember what you need. You need you need noise. Noise is always the best way to do this kind of thing. And noise you can use line and where's the vector noise again? That's the vector noise. We need that guy and that guy. So line goes into this guy. Vector in. Let's output a vector. New Perlin. Okay, let's plug this in to the skin, but turn off this guy. And we also need to be careful. Let's cut everything. Plug that in there. Plug the edges in there. And finally the radius. Let's see the result first. Okay, that's the result. It's kind of the wiggle, the worm kind of design. You already know the drill. This is gonna be, and we just need to pipe in the radius and turn on live, and it didn't crash. Didn't crash. Can't seem to adjust this. I have a feeling that I missed one thing. I should have plugged this into the noise. Yeah, okay, so that's wrong. It's the vector. Okay, the vector of this line goes in there, and we can delete what we don't need, and now we can plug this there. Okay, seems to be pretty stable, didn't crash, everything's still working, and we have our worms. We can kind of move the worms in the noise. We can reduce the number of vertices of the worm. We can increase the number of steps or reduce it. And what else we can do? New Perlin, Voronoi, cell noise, Voronoi. So we can also maybe plug in time into that guy as well. And Sverchok almost crashed. Didn't crash. Phew, shouldn't that. Yeah, but anyway, that's really pretty much how you deal with let's say if you have a Sverchok, right, or Blender. Both you can draw lines manually or procedurally, any kind of lines, and you plus the skin modifier, skin, and you have a form, kind of like a volume kind of mesh. So that's the whole idea. And work with the radius for each point, and then just start from there, and then see what you can come up with, because really you don't just work with single lines. Maybe you want to have multiple lines. Maybe you can monad, you can group the skin measure, and then see. It might crash time to time, but then, well, despite of crashing, this is really cool opportunity for you to really play around with a value, to understand the procedural workflow, and then to understand how radius works with lines and skin modifier to generate like a form. Okay, so there you go. Sverchok Skinner node, and hopefully you like this video. You can leave comments and suggestion for this, and then subscribe to this channel for more live noding video. Thanks again for tuning in. I'll see you next time.